so much to Paired for sponsoring today's video. Paired is a relationship app that is designed to help couples stay in love. It offers daily conversation starters, and expert-backed advice to help strengthen communication and deepen emotional connection, making the journey of staying in love more enjoyable and meaningful. Sometimes it's very hard to find time for open and honest daily communication, so Paired makes it easy and fun to connect with your partner. As some of you may know, me and my boyfriend are not long distance for the first time in literally the 8 years of our relationship. However, it is still so fun to use now to strengthen our communication in our relationship because it's suitable for all couples going through any stages of a relationship. It isn't just for couples going through a bad patch. And strong communication is key for a happy and healthy relationship. It encourages couples to talk more. We recently were just traveling a bunch together. We went to Iceland and Los Angeles together, and it was really cool learning about what kind of travelers we are together. The Paired quiz helped us a lot with that. And you don't necessarily even have to be in the same room at the same time with your partner to complete the quizzes or games. Once you both complete the game, you can see all of your responses. Paired also offers a feature where you can create a timeline of your relationship, where you can add in the most important moments of your relationship. And definitely going to Iceland and Los Angeles with Adam is gonna go on our timeline. So if you guys wanna try out Paired yourself, click the link below to get a 7-day free trial, as well as 25% off Paired Premium, so you can maintain and deepen your connection with your partner. Hey everyone. When I was planning this video, I was like, oh my god, yay, I'm gonna dress up as Doja Cat from the Moo music video. Like, I'm gonna have a sexy little moment. I ordered a cute little cow print top, a cute little cow print skirt. I was like, oh, cute. Like, I'm gonna get a little bit slutty for the Doja Cat video. This is what came in the mail! This is what came in the mail. This is the sexy cow suit that you guys are getting, okay? I'm just as disappointed as all of you. First of all, since my last Chronically Online Girl video, I got almost 100,000 likes on a tweet saying that they want me gone, just because I make the Chronically Online Girl videos. And that's completely valid. Sometimes I want me gone too. And despite my greatest efforts, I am back. When you say that you want the Chronically Online Girl gone, this is who you're talking to. This is who you're talking to when you say, I want that bitch gone. Look, hello, it's me. I have always wanted to make a video on Doja Cat, specifically a Chronically Online Girl video about Doja Cat. I was a junior in college when Say So was making its rounds, and notoriously every single time that Say So played during quarantine, I would bawl my eyes out because it reminded me of a simpler time.
One time, I was just playing it in the background and I didn't even realize, and I started crying and I was like, why am I crying right now? Like, why am I getting so emotional? It was because Say So was playing on in the background. I don't care that everyone knows this song. I don't care that Doja Cat herself is tired of this song. I don't care.
Okay. Doja Cat makes me nostalgic for a life that I will never live again. I remember finding her memes and her lives so funny, incredible, show-stopping, following her e-girl makeup tutorial where she's like, you gotta put blush on your nose because it makes you look like I'm cold.
It just makes you look cold. Like you're freezing cold, and I don't know what's so sexy about being freezing cold, but I like to look like I'm freezing cold.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, I left my jacket. Can I borrow your jacket?
Basically.
Knowing that she could be lurking in Philly at any moment while I lived there because she was dating a Philadelphia music artist at the time. And over the last few years, we've been able to see so many more memes of her be born. More incredible albums, music, performances. I go, while also learning that she's a complicated and intricate person, as we learn about her scandals, mistakes, and odd choices. Whether we want to consider this strategic and part of the art, or maybe have more nuance as we go from watching somebody make their EP in their bedroom to then becoming an international superstar. This is what happens when an edgelord becomes wildly successful and famous. I don't think anybody would argue with me when I say that Doja Cat is one of the most chronically online people.
10 times better than half of those girls over there.
You did. You did.
And you come in here with a defeatist attitude. I don't have a bad attitude.
I love to go to war with trolls, she said in a February interview with Variety. That's just what I've grown up with. I've been on the internet for 1,000 years and it's just part of me. And I want to see Doja Cat win so bad. And obviously, I want to see women grow and evolve. And obviously, everybody has their qualms, except Doja Cat does happen to have her qualms all over her Twitter for everyone to see. It's really difficult to be mobile in this, so please bear with me. I might just not be so agile as I usually am. I know I'm usually doing tricks and shit for you guys, but so let's get started talking about her early life and her upbringing, which is actually extremely interesting. Amala Ratna Zandili Dlamini, aka Doja Cat. Doja, if you didn't know, hello. It's weed. It's weed. Doja refers to weed. Doja Cat. That is how she came up with the name. Was born October 21st, 1995. Her mom, Deborah Sawyer, is a Jewish American graphic designer, and her dad, Dumisani Dlamini, is a South African performer of Zulu descent, known for his role in Sarafina. Something that maybe not many people know about her unless you're a fan is that she actually grew up on a commune. When she was 8 years old, she moved back to California from New York with her mom and her brother and lived in the Hindu commune in Agora Hills called the Sai Anatam Ashram. And yes, you did hear me right. I did say Agora Hills. Kissing, I hope they cut us. What did they like tonight? I want to show you off. I want to show you off. So this was actually run by Alice Coltrane, legendary jazz musician. She wasn't just a musician, she was a spiritual leader, and her ashram was a haven for people seeking refuge, including Doja Cat. Doja has said before that being around Alice's music while she was younger and her spiritual energy at such a young age was incredible and captivating. And one of the many interesting things about Doja Cat is how dance became before music in her life. At the ashram, she was introduced to Bharatanatyam. It's a classical Indian dance, and you can definitely see how this influenced her style later in life, especially with dance and also in music. Also led her to being extremely talented in breakdancing and pop locking. Eventually even joined a professional pop locking crew, performing in dance battles across LA. There's like a famous video of her that went around when she was younger, pop locking. And people were like, yeah, she's been talented for years. She did this all while still in high school. However, she didn't start focusing on vocals until later on in life. Her aunt was a vocal coach that started to give her voice lessons. That's when she got accepted into Central Los Angeles area New High School number 9, a performing arts school in downtown LA. Okay, Victorious, all right. However, Doja Cat did end up dropping out at 16. She says, mainly due to her ADHD and lack of interest in the traditional classroom environment. However, after leaving school, Doja Cat went all in on DIY music. That's when she started digging through YouTube for beats, instrumentals, basically crafting songs in her bedroom. There are still songs on SoundCloud that you can find of Doja Cat's old music, and this era birthed the song So Hot, You Get Me So Hot. You might know it. And it gained enough traction for her to get signed to RCA Records and Kimosabe. Oh my god, pull my leg. Let's talk about Moo, the thing that changed everything. Yeah, the fucking Tao song, the masterpiece, the music video. Hopefully we've all seen it. If not, it's not too late. It's not too late, guys. Guys, it's not too late. On August 10, 2019, Doja Cat randomly uploaded a music video to YouTube titled Moo, with 3 O's and an exclamation point. And no one saw what was coming at all. It was completely DIY, filmed in front of a green screen in her bedroom, wearing a cute cow outfit, a lot cuter than this, eating fries, and singing about being a cow. Lyrics such as, bitch, I'm a cow, I'm not a cat, I don't say meow. Absurd, but weirdly genius. However, a lot of people theorize that this song is not simply just a meme and about being a cow, but much, much more. A lot of people drew conclusions that this song was about capitalism and much, much more intricate than what the lyrics maybe gave into. Doja herself has admitted that the entire thing was simply just a joke. A throwaway song that she literally wrote and created the music video for in 12 and a half hours. But it literally blew up, like over 500 million views blew up. It became a whole internet meme spreading on Twitter, early days of TikTok, YouTube reaction videos, and then eventually, of course, ended on the infamous yellow backdrop of Genius. And then it was basically released as a lead single on the deluxe version of her debut album, Amala. And something that people instantly loved about Doja Cat when her virality was going around was that she was relatable and funny and chronically online, just like everyone else was. We didn't have like this polished celebrity who was PR trained by any means, and that is what the appeal was to her. She didn't take herself too seriously, and it made people want to root for her. Doja Cat knew how to create content that was gonna go viral. She knew how to break the internet, she knew how to grasp attention, and it's literally how her career started. And so to see that then happen down the line in her career isn't that surprising. It was basically proof that somebody who was an expert at being on the internet was gonna be able to create a hit. Now in 2019, Doja Cat ended up dropping her second album, Hot Pink. That's my range of motion. fucking deal with it. That's when stuff really started blowing up and people started to take her more seriously as an artist. TikTok did its thing with Say So, obviously. A TikTok user named Yodeling Haley, who I still literally follow to this day, Haley Sharp, created a dance for Say So, which gained so much TikTok traction. The song became viral, the dance became viral. So when Doja Cat made a music video for Say So, Haley Sharp is actually featured within the video. I was supposed to be in the video.
I was supposed to be in the video.
Which, like, how full circle is that? Say So wasn't even a single at first, it was just simply an album track. But thanks to TikTok, it became a Billboard 100 #1 hit. However, the shitty thing about the song Say So is that Dr. Luke does get a producing credit on the song, using a pseudonym. Literally to try and hide his fucking identity, going under the name of Tyson Trax. If you didn't know, Dr. Luke is the subject of ongoing legal disputes and public criticism, rightfully so, because of Kesha's 2014 lawsuit accusing him of abuse. And many people were very upset because this was kind of like Dr. Luke's comeback, and it was done like silently, especially under a pseudonym. And while she hasn't publicly said much about the collab with Dr. Luke, fans have noted that she actually signed with him before the lawsuits, and she also like tweets defending that timeline. When it comes to Dr. Luke, there is a lot of speculation that people are trapped in their record deals with him. Another example being Kim Petras, who is making music with Dr. Luke and then apparently seemingly out of the contract with him and then kind of hinting at like they're free. Kim Petras even posting photos with an apple a day in reference to an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Doja Cat has had so many viral moments, but this video would be forever if we talked about every single one. However, mid-2022, while we were all obsessing over Stranger Things, duh, obviously, Doja Cat herself tweets, "Joseph Quinn fine as shit." And in the screenshot, I now realize that her name on Twitter at the time was Cum. Doja Cat, looking for a wingman, decides to DM Noah Schnapp, 17-year-old Noah Schnapp, because she had a crush on Joseph Quinn and was telling Noah to get Joseph to hit her up. Now, 17-year-old Noah Schnapp, mid-2022, also being a chronically online individual and not understanding boundaries or social cues, I don't know, because he's 17 years old, decided to post a screenshot of his conversation with Doja Cat where she's thirsting over him. "Noah, can you tell Joseph to hit me up? Wait, no. Does he have a girlfriend? LMAO, slide into his DMs. I don't know his Instagram or Twitter. He doesn't have a DM to slide in." Which then Noah sends his profile, Joseph Quinn, which is literally, it's just his name. It's literally just his name, Doja Cat. You could have looked up Joseph Quinn. Anyway, why would he do that? But I'm also not gonna give him that much fucking grief because he's 17 years old. However, Doja Cat does go on TikTok Live July 7th and calls the situation socially unaware and whack. She said, "That's borderline snake shit. Weasel shit." But also try to be fair by saying he's a kid. When you're that young, you make mistakes. I did my share of fuck ups too.
That's what I didn't see him that way. I made an assumption that he was gonna be like chill about it, and he went and like shared information that I didn't feel comfortable with him sharing. And it's just exploitative. It's like exploitative behavior, and it's embarrassing.
Many of her fans will agree, was this the most appropriate thing to go online kind of bashing the 17-year-old, calling him a weasel and a snake? Probably not. And a lot of people's critiques were, well, why are you messaging a 17-year-old about a crush that you have? Like, girl, just DM him yourself. This is when Twitter likes were public. What a time. She liked tweets saying, "No one was mad at you for DMing him when he posted and they were all laughing. But the second you express your concern, it's why was she DMing a 17-year-old? Like, they need to be serious." A week later, Noah Schnapp posted TikTok about math, using one of Doja Cat's songs. And he writes in the comments, "Guys, everything is all good. I apologize. I still follow her and love her music. No hard feelings." Note how he didn't say I still love her. He said I love her music. I'm just kidding. But the beef was squashed. However, that was fucking funny. The summer of 2022, the summer of Eddie Munson, I had to, okay? I had to. The little demons in my head said I had to do that. The thumbnail in which I do the Eddie Munson pose, like, that still eats me alive, okay? It was for fun. We had fun. Oh my God, we had fucking fun. But not only did we get Stranger Things season 4, but we got beef between Doja Cat and Noah fucking Schnapp. And I had my own terrors with Noah Schnapp because he was attending UPenn at the time and I lived close to UPenn. So every day I left my house fearing that I would run into Noah Schnapp. But people at the time obviously defended Noah. That is until Noah decided to make his own Zionism is sexy comments. He dug his own grave in that, okay? You're a fucking adult, all right? You cannot be defended. Now you might be asking, okay, well, what did Joseph Quinn say about all this? We're not done with him. Around mid-2023, Doja Cat hates her fans starts surfacing. Doja Cat lost almost 400,000 followers on Instagram in a single month, like literally 150,000 all in one day, all because people decided that she hates her fans. However, the whole narrative, it's a lot more complicated than just that. I feel like I do have to talk about the experience that a lot of female artists have in comparison to male artists when it comes to gratitude for their careers. Like, women are constantly expected to be so extremely thankful for the career that they built, loving, grateful, constantly available to their fan base emotionally and, you know, physically as well. Meanwhile, there's many male artists. The first that stick out of my mind are like Justin Bieber, for example, John Lennon, Liam Gallagher. These are just some examples of artists who have expressed frustration with their fans at one point or another. You're not clocking that I'm standing on business.
And it's not clocking to you.
No, I mean, how many videos have there been of Justin Bieber maybe not treating his fans the kindest, and no one labels those artists as the celebrity that hates their fans? A lot of times, actually, people give them grace and they're like, yeah, it's a boundary. People should respect their space. People should respect their time. People should respect their privacy. However, examples of other female artists like Clairo, Mitski, Chappell Roan ask fans to respect their boundaries. The backlash is intense, especially online. For example, Clairo asking for fans not to shout at her concert, like literally someone screaming during her song Blouse, which is like a very sad and vulnerable song, where she literally had to ask, can you stop screaming at me? Mitski not liking the fact that people screamed at her concert, mother is mothering. And Chappell Roan, of course, talking about not being very comfortable always taking photos out when she's in public and how she's allowed to say no to that.
Can I get a photo with you? And she's like, no? What the And then you get mad at this random lady?
This all didn't go over well. People were like, oh, these are bitches. They're ungrateful. Like, if it weren't for their fans, they wouldn't have anything. So mid-2023, Doja Cat tweets, my life, my rules, my style, my attitude. And a Doja Cat fan says, I want to hear you say, I do love you guys, as usual you say to your fans. Which Doja Cat says, I don't though, because I don't even know y'all. In which another fan responds, and we don't know you, but we have supported you through thick and thin. Mind you, you'd be nothing without us. You'd be working at a grocery store making songs on fucking GarageBand, Miss High School Dropout. Which Doja Cat responds, nobody forced you. I don't know why you're talking to me like you're my mother. Bitch, you sound like a crazy person. That is a very parasocial comment. Doja Cat does take it to the next level, which people are confused whether or not she's trolling, which she does a lot, like that is her sense of humor, or if she's dead serious, saying, my fans don't name themselves shit. If you call yourself a kitten or fucking kittens, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house. Like, okay, yeah, that is a lot. That's a lot, I will agree. And someone also tweeted, everyone is mad because you are calling your fans dumb. But Doja Cat writes, are they not? Doja Cat never explicitly said, though, I hate my fans. In a 2024 interview with Apple Music's Ebro Darden, she cleared it up. You'll never see a direct quote of me saying I hate my fans. Not once. She admits that she plays with the idea as a meme and that her humor often gets misunderstood, which I can empathize with because I feel like sometimes my humor also gets misunderstood. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm obviously being very sarcastic, very satirical, very ironic. I do not mean what I'm saying. But that's not always very obvious to people, especially online. Unless you're using tone indicators with every single tweet, not everybody is gonna read your words exactly the way that you want them to. Doja Cat also says when people become engaged with someone they don't even know on the internet, they kind of take ownership over that person. And when the person changes drastically, there is a shock response. And around the time that she released her album Scarlet, which we'll get into, Doja Cat had a listening party where she painted the words, I do love you. I think a lot of this stems from a misunderstanding of basically feeling not respected by all of your fans, feeling like maybe your stans, the biggest fans that you have, feel like they own you to a certain extent, but then playing around in the sense of humor, it didn't exactly come across as well. Like, for example, another huge breaking point of the I hate her fans thing was in 2022, a festival in Paraguay. So Doja Cat's show gets canceled due to flooding, completely out of everyone's control. Fans camped out of her hotel hoping that she would come out and say hi. Parasocial, a lot. I think especially fans were really excited because Doja Cat does not often tour in Paraguay, so It was exciting. It was also 2022. It was after years of not having concerts because of COVID. However, Doja Cat decided to not come out, which she also has every single right to do. The weather was dangerous. She decided to stay inside. The next day, she tweeted, "There wasn't one person outside the hotel waiting for me. Not even one. Let that sink in." And fans were furious. They're like, "Girl, what the? We did camp out. We camped out before. You never came out. Also, it's literally storming, and now you want fans to be outside of your hotel today?" Which then Doja Cat tweeted, "I quit. Music is dead to me. I don't give a fuck anymore." And she changed her display name to I Quit. This reminds me a lot of, and some of you will hate that I'm gonna say this, when I was a big FouseyTube stan, that man would quit all the time. I was literally like 12 years old begging this grown man in his late 20s, like, "Please don't quit, please don't quit YouTube, we need you, oh my god, please don't leave us." Like trying to convince him off the edge of quitting YouTube every other fucking day. Like, girl, what? This is your career. However, as much as these episodes do seem very like drastic and manic and overblown, I do also want to recognize that mental health can play a factor in this. To be angry at your fans and make the sudden decision that you're gonna quit music all of a sudden, it does make me have empathy and think potentially maybe she is going through some mental health struggles, because that is quite a drastic manic choice. And Doja Cat also started her career extremely accessible since day one of her career. Live streaming, tweeting chaotically, being very, very online, and having that close relationship with her fans. It made fans feel like they basically knew her. And so when she pulled back or had some boundaries, fans ended up taking it personally. It's similar to like what we saw with creators such as Emma Chamberlain. She once vlogged her literal every fart. We knew that woman's flatulence like the back of our hand. Now we basically only see polished, artistic, rare glimpses into her life. But it's not sustainable to be that open and accessible and available to everyone forever. It's just not. And so when artists end up pulling away, which they eventually all will at one point or another in their career, if they start off as very open, people will feel betrayed by that and take it personally. Personally, I don't take the whole she hates her fans thing very much seriously. For me, I personally saw it as her venting and trolling, maybe even coping, something that a lot of us do with dark humor. Which then brings us on to our next downfall, which is the chat rooms. You can tell that Doja Cat was raised by the internet, by the way that she makes her jokes, her sense of humor. I mean, she literally is live constantly, but she seems like somebody who is on 4chan, Tumblr, Twitter, Twitch. Like, that is her side of the internet. So back in 2020, Doja Cat started facing some very, very serious backlash over leaked footage from Tiny Chat, which is basically chat rooms where your webcam can be on and you can chat with others, where she's seen joking and talking sexually with some men, and some viewers allege were part of the alt-right incel communities. Now, around the same time, an old song of hers resurfaced titled Didn't Do Nuffin'. If you didn't know, that is a racist dog whistle used to mock black victims of police brutality. And some even claim that the song referenced Sandra Bland, although Doja Cat never mentioned her name. Doja Cat goes on Instagram saying, "I shouldn't have been on some of those chat room sites. I've never been involved in any racist conversations. I'm sorry to everyone that I offended." She also said that Didn't Do Nuffin' was written in response to people using that term against her, and that it was her attempt to reclaim it, but she admits that it was a bad decision. She also called it maybe the worst song in the entire world. And as for the chat rooms, she did say that although they were public and that racists did pop in, they were not her community or her friends. The idea that this chat room is a white supremacist chat room is, I don't understand it in any way, not even. And in a Paper Magazine interview right before the scandal, Doja Cat even admitted that she became the person who would make offensive jokes. It seems like Doja Cat used humor in some ways to deflect, but also to fit in. Of course, that makes fans wonder, is this just youthful ignorance? Is this mistakes that she had made in her younger years? Or is this something much deeper? Why was Doja Cat even in these spaces to begin with, talking to these people? Like, you're Doja Cat. You don't have to be in these chat rooms with these fucking people. Why is a multimillionaire artist sitting in these chat rooms, engaging with random internet trolls, and probably some of the worst people who are on the internet? Why DM a 17-year-old actor about a crush that you have on his co-star? Why clap back at every random hater on Twitter? And the pattern that I'm kind of seeing leads to the answer being, that is where Doja Cat came from. She literally grew up online. She wasn't trained like an old school pop star. She wasn't PR trained. I mean, maybe she was PR trained. Maybe she didn't care to take all of the advice from it. And I think a lot of this has actually been to her detriment rather than her benefit. And although a lot of this was to her benefit, especially at the start of her career when creating Moo or Say So, it seems to be as her career progresses that her onlineness is more of a detriment. So other than the controversies that Doja Cat has gone through, one of the biggest debates about her has been, is she a rapper or is she a pop star who also sometimes raps? Doja Cat wanted to make it very, very clear that she is, at her core, a rapper. Although her biggest hits like Say So, Woman, Kiss Me More are all very pop driven, some critics and fans have struggled to basically see her as a rapper that she so badly wants to be seen as, even though she has always been rapping in her music. According to Complex and Enemy, she's been vocal about feeling discredited in hip-hop circles and frustrated that her bars get overlooked just because they're wrapped in sparkly visuals or paired with catchy choruses. Which basically then starts the Scarlet era, which was basically Doja Cat saying, if you won't respect me as a rapper, I will make you respect me as a rapper, because this is a rap album. She made all the visuals for this much, much darker, red. She also changed every old album cover to a shade of red, which I find very interesting because Charlie XCX did something similar when Brat came out, which she changed all of the album covers to ratify them, essentially. I'm not saying Doja Cat's the first. I'm just saying it is interesting and cool. Basically, all of Scarlet, like the name, was very, very red focused. Hello. I consider painting myself completely red for this video instead of the cow. YouTube is weird about blood, so She also dismissed her past albums like Hot Pink and Planet Her and called them literal cash grabs. She said that we all fell for the TikTok friendly stuff and that she was done playing into that shit. And that's really big for an artist who literally won a Grammy for a pop duet. Kiss Me More. Someone on Twitter wrote, I hope these comments are not the only thing that push you to go full rap. If doing pop and rap is what you like, you shouldn't stop simply because of them, which Doja responded, pop isn't exciting to me anymore. I don't want to make it. Keep this in mind. Planet Her and Hot Pink were cash grabs and y'all fell for it. Now I can go disappear somewhere and touch grass with my loved ones on an island while y'all weep for mediocre pop. Which a lot of people were like, hey, you wouldn't be here where you are now or even be able to go touch grass on an island with your loved ones if it were not for that mediocre rap that you once created. Another fan wrote, I just know this album is gonna flop because her fans don't like this type of sound from her. And Doja Cat wrote, purging. Evidently wanting to get rid of a fan base who was only in it for the pop side of her and wanted people who are more interested in her own personal artistic interests. Doja Cat tweeted, no more pop. I also agree with everyone who said the majority of my rap verses are mid and corny. I know they are. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just enjoy making music, but I'm getting tired of hearing y'all say I can't, so I will. I love the pop shit. I love it. I think it's fun. I don't think hating pop makes you cooler or edgier by any means. I think when people like pop and also like other genres of music, it's just a really good example of someone who can enjoy a wide variety of sound. I think that's a lot cooler than people who are like, I hate pop, fuck pop. But a lot of fans did not like this pivot from Doja Cat. It was too dark, it was too edgy, obviously not pop enough. But if I'm being completely honest, it did feel like Doja Cat was being very much so herself. She's always been edgy, she's always been artist forward. She wasn't chasing hits, she just wanted to hone in on her craft and her love of rap, and she was experimenting with it. And I love when an artist does that. A lot of people, for example, Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever was a big step away from her normal aesthetic. And that was really difficult for some fans to grasp. She even speaks about that time in her life now, that she needed that time to experiment with herself so that she could break out of the mold that she was once seen in. Is she still in that Happier Than Ever era? Does she still look the same? Does she still dress the same? Does her sound necessarily sound the same as from that album? No. I think that's really cool, especially for young artists to find their sound and find themselves, even if that means straying away from what their brand looks like. In the song Demon, she even says, I'm a puppet, I'm a sheep, I'm a cash cow. I'm the fastest growing bitch on all your apps now. And she even reps a shirt that says cash cow on it so well. And it's very tongue-in-cheek, and she's calling herself out before you get the opportunity to call her out. And that self-awareness is so interesting because it's not just that she's a rapper, but it's commentary on what it means to be a rapper. So Doja Cat was throwing around album name ideas. Before Scarlet, it was Hellmouth, Moist Holes, and First of All. Personally, I love the Scarlet era. I thought the visuals visuals for it were very cool. Seeing her live in concert, some of the outfits, the dancers, that entire era, it just seemed like she was taking herself so extremely seriously as an artist during that time. And it was extremely entertaining and really, really cool to see, to be honest. This is also when Doja Cat decides to shave her head. Normally, I wouldn't include this in a Chronically Online Girl video because I think that's so unimportant if somebody is going to cut their hair or whatever they decide to do with their hair. However, I think the way that the public treats Doja Cat, a black woman who has decided to cut her hair, shave her head in fact, I find the way that people react very disgusting. Anytime that Doja Cat comes back with a wig on during any performance, all the comments are always flooded with like, oh my god, old Doja Cat is back. Finally, oh my god, she looks good again. She looks like herself. She looks so healthy. There's also plenty of comments about her weight. Like, oh my god, I wish that she never lost the weight. She looked better before. As if people saw her as a Barbie doll and not as a real person. And any deviation from like the hot pop star look is treated basically as a betrayal to the public. Doja Cat rightfully so defends herself and says, I won a Grammy. I went platinum. I've made hit after hit and you want me to look fuckable for you? Go fuck yourselves. And that's what really makes her bald era so important, to be completely honest. In Days magazine, she even described her bald head as the thing that made her feel the most beautiful. She said that it made her feel fresh, new, unfiltered, and even sexy without makeup. The Scarlet Deluxe album was named Claude, and so she used her natural hair texture as part of the album artwork. The comments were disgusting, like literally comments like, is it pubic hair? Looks like carpet. Is that sheep's wool?
People saying, is my hair pubic hair? Is it carpet or is it sheep's wool? And it's not even questions. Some people are being like, that's what it is. But like people comparing my hair to sheep and pubes and carpet and popcorn and shit like that. Like, we gotta move forward. Pubic hair? Really? That's where we stand?
What the fuck are these comments? And I think not only are these comments incredibly sexist, these expectations of what she should look like because she's a pop star and you want her to be what you want her to be, but it's also incredibly racist. To be expecting a black woman to be doing with her hair what you want her to be doing, weird behavior. So Doja Cat also deactivated her Instagram around this time, and before that she said, I like coming here to be inspired, but this is getting to be too much. Please watch how you talk to and about people on the internet. And she said that the way that she was being spoken to was giving her fucked up thoughts. So Doja Cat is also responsible for the new wave of satanic panic. Maybe she was inspired by season 4 of Stranger Things, to be honest. The original satanic panic happened in the 80s and 90s. I actually made a video about satanic panic on the internet. It's a moral frenzy where people were convinced that daycares and rock bands were part of a secret Satan worshipping cults, and there's no real evidence for it at all. Fueled a lot by religion, media-fueled fear, propaganda, and also a lot of ruined lives. So 2022, 2023, satanic panic looked a little bit different. It wasn't happening with rock bands and daycares, but more so Lil Nas X's Blood Shoes being deemed as demonic, as well as his music video. Addison Rae in a praying bikini and gets called a devil worshiper. And also the whole Balenciaga ad controversy that was happening at that time, feeding into child sacrifice conversations. A lot of this is rooted in QAnon adjacent fears about elites harvesting adrenochrome. A lot actually has to do with anti-Semitism as well. And it spreads very fast because of places like TikTok and Twitter. So in January 2023, when Doja Cat shows up to Paris Fashion Week looking like a glittering ruby encrusted demon, I was like, oh my god, camp couture, it's fun, I love this, oh my god, fashion's back. People online were like, oh my god, she sold her soul to the devil. And Doja Cat's like, I'm gonna play into this. I'm actually gonna play into this really bad. She also gets a lot more tattoos around this time. People are like, yes, these are all very demonic, Satanist tattoos. So Doja Cat, knowing how the internet works, knowing how to make yourself go viral, she leans into it and drops a song called Demons. I do feel like I need to talk about Paris Fashion Week a little bit more before we just move on. She's fucking funny. She posts a photo without eyelashes and then comments online are like, why doesn't she have eyelashes? I wish that she had eyelashes for this look. So then she's like, okay, fuck you guys. So then she comes back with a lash mustache and eyebrow lashes. Love. Because Doja Cat has said before on the internet, if somebody wants to fight me on the internet, I will gladly join in. Balls to the wall. It's fun for me. Doja Cat, The vape heard around the Met. So Doja Cat did vape at the 2023 Met Gala. Before the event, Anna Wintour and Andrew Bolton were asked what's the one way to make sure that you're never invited back to the Met Gala. Their answer was smoking. The Met Gala has a very big no smoking policy. You probably have seen though the photos of all the celebrities like getting together in the bathrooms and taking mirror selfies and smoking cigarettes. Like, it does happen. In the back of literally an Emma Chamberlain interview, Doja Cat is spotted vaping. As she's dressed as Choupette, which is Karl Lagerfeld's cat. She was very much so on theme. And later on in her song Wet Vagina, she addresses it, where she says, kick me out the Met, but I really run fashion. And for a long time, people thought that she was actually banned from the Met Gala because she did not attend in 2024, but 2025 she attended. Later that fall, Doja Cat decides to post a selfie, as seen here, wearing a t-shirt featuring Sam Hyde, who is a comedian linked to far-right neo-Nazi ideology. Sam Hyde's history includes photos with Nazi salutes and swastikas, and so he's a very controversial figure. So fans immediately call out Doja Cat for posting the photo, so then she deletes it. So she re-uploads the photo, crops Sam Hyde out of the picture, captions it with eye-rolling emojis. In response to this, she says, I'm not a political person at all. She wants creativity and joy and not politics in her life. She also mentioned in an interview that she said that she was wearing the shirt about someone she thought was funny, not an attack on anyone. And she even acknowledges that she's way too famous for this kind of thing. Because she doesn't feel like she owes people an explanation, but people want an explanation. And so for her, she's like, I'm too fucking famous. Like, I shouldn't be in this position. I think ideally for her, she would like to surround herself with people and also a fan base that likes her edgy humor without analyzing her every action. I just don't think that that is realistic at this point with how big of a celebrity that she is. I want to assume positive intent that Doja Cat had no idea what Sam Hyde was necessarily tied to, that he had other comedic work that was not tied to neo-Nazi ideology whatsoever, and that she simply just didn't know and just wore the t-shirt like she claims in the Apple interview. But it's a completely valid reason for why people would be upset about it. There are artists out there who choose to have such a private life. For example, I think of MF Doom, who wears a mask. Daft Punk, they wear masks. Sia, who always had her face covered with a wig. Dolly Parton, who claims to have a disguise and that no one knows what she really looks like. Orville Peck, who has his face hidden, very private life. Like, Orville Peck is very much so a stage name and he keeps his life very personal. And I think that that is the life that Doja Cat would like to live. It is a little bit too late considering how big she has gotten, and I don't think it's very realistic to kind of be at that point now in her career. But wearing a shirt with a neo-Nazi on it, and then with just the excuse of, I didn't know, people are gonna be upset about that. And I can completely understand people's frustration with her response to that. And I can see why it could be very difficult to not have any more room for benefit of the doubt for the things that she does. So Doja Cat starts dating Jay Cyrus. Jay Cyrus, a comedian and Twitch streamer who has a history of accusations around emotional manipulation and abuse towards his female moderators and his community. The allegations surfaced as early as 2019, but didn't get mainstream until dating Doja Cat. And he even admitted in a now deleted apology that he recognized his abuse and his power and caused harm to people. Despite this, Doja Cat was dating him, and when fans decided to bring this up to her, she responded with, I don't give a fuck what you think about my personal life. Goodbye and good riddance, miserable hoes. Haha. This caused even more fans to distance themselves from her beyond from just her I hate my fans phase or whatever. I knew it was difficult for me to enjoy her song Can't Wait, which is such a beautiful song off of Scarlet, because I knew that shit was about Jay Cyrus. I want to be the stubborn barnacles crusted upon you. If you were a middle American farmer, I'd read up on every vegetable and harvest them around you. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to be about Jay Cyrus, okay? Was it a big ass fucking relief when she was dressed up as a gecko in an interview and she says that she's back on Raya? Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, Doja Cat's back on Raya. Yeah, she's free from Jay Cyrus. Because obviously, I'm gonna have empathy towards a woman, and I'm gonna think to myself, that fucking blows that you were with an abusive man who probably convinced you that he didn't do anything wrong, that people are crazy, that fans are crazy, and who knows what happened to her in that relationship as well. I've seen it happen firsthand. Shit, happened to me. No one is immune to an abuser or the manipulation that an abuser will do. So finally, when Doja Cat is seen with Joseph Quinn, I'm like, oh my God, war is over. War's over. Oh my God, we won. Yay! Doja Cat was even playing around with engagement rumors because she showed off her hand. Where she sings, put a rock on her hand. And she was showing off a ring that she had on her ring finger, which she later clarified was a David Yurman ring without any rocks. Joseph Quinn, obviously garnering a huge fan base after his role as Eddie Munson, were very protective over him and did not really like Doja Cat because of her controversial past and did not really approve of this relationship. However, I did see a fair amount of racist and parasocial comments also about their relationship. People upset that they were in an interracial relationship, which is so ugly and terrible. Like, just say that you're racist and go. Like, the fan entitlement of being upset that your favorite is dating another celebrity and being racist on top of that, but that you really think that Joseph Quinn is gonna fucking date you. Like, you really think Doja Cat is taking you away from Joseph Quinn? I have really, really harsh news for you all. I see the same shit happening with Harry Styles literally right now. Anyway, it does appear like Doja Cat and Joseph Quinn are not together anymore. However, is that a little fun full circle moment that everything happened with Noah Schnapp and all this drama just for her to end up being with him? Well, yes! We've talked about a good amount of parasocialism at this point with Doja Cat's fans. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm gonna lose my fucking mind with this costume. Oh my God. I've been holding it together so well this entire time, but I can't anymore. But parasocialism doesn't just happen online. It also can happen in person, unfortunately. One example is the Doja Cat Airbnb experience that happened last year in October. This was a private event that was hosted by Airbnb at a private location. And the intentions were to basically connect with a few select fans. It was supposed to be very, very chill, enjoy some fancy charcuterie boards, and no random fans allowed, okay? Like, no phones, very exclusive, like one-on-one experience. And this is one of the first experiences that Airbnb did like this, but it's definitely becoming more common. Basically, artists trying to create a safe space away from massive fans and Airbnb being like, oh my God, money. But it gets messy when a fan who got in had to get escorted out of the experience. He won the contest, but still got kicked out. And that's because when they went through his belongings, they found a fan letter that he had written to Doja Cat, which in it he talks about being blocked by Doja Cat, begging for her to unblock him, how he had tweeted at her that Piss is her worst song on the album, which she then blocked him for. And he also brought like many albums for her to sign, some of her like favorite food. And security saw this situation as not the safest, not really what Doja Cat was looking to curate the experience as. And so he was escorted out. And this guy posted receipts and screenshots of everything that had happened while attending this experience, or I guess not really attending because he got kicked out, about bags that were confiscated. He said that it felt like a breach of privacy for security to read through the letter, which if you're going to such like an intimate experience where like safety is the number one concern, I think reading a letter is kind of understandable. To which then he posted the picture of the letter onto Twitter, as well as his phone number, email, his social media. Also that he printed out the screenshot of him being blocked, asking for her to sign it, even though that's something that she signed before and finds funny. It was just a very, very parasocial, like, reading through all these tweets, hoping that one day they get to laugh about it in the future. I think it's safe to say, though, that fans were not thinking that Doja Cat or her team really overreacted because safety is the number one priority at events like this. But that was really crazy to witness. But again, parasocialism can also affect you in real life, not just the Airbnb experience. But I've been on the other end of that like parasocial tension, and I'm someone with much, much smaller of an audience. I talked about this on my TikTok, but I went to VidCon recently for the very first time, and I was a feature creator, which was so insane. That's not me getting choked up. That's my voice cracking because I am, in fact, a little boy. This 14-year-old kid comes into my line and, you know, whatever, I hug him and he's like, I actually have to say I have absolutely no idea who you are. I just saw that your line was empty and I felt really bad for you. So I decided to like come and make your day. And also a man coming into my meet and greet line, also not knowing who I was and like telling me I'm beautiful and begging me to follow him on Instagram. And when I told him I didn't have my phone, he like made me keep repeating his name back. I did feel like to a certain extent, I made myself too accessible to people. The fact that somebody was able to just come up to my meet and greet line, they kept pushing for it. And then also literally 10 minutes later, another person coming up to me in my meet and greet line. Oh, she's an internet figure. I can berate this person and be mean to them publicly because what are they gonna do it does make me think like, yeah, maybe I should pull back a little bit. Maybe I should be a little bit more personal. Maybe I should be a little bit more private. I don't know if I need to give so much of myself out there, even though I don't give very much at all out there, to be honest. So I can't even imagine what that would be like on such a larger scale. So then that makes me think about like what makes somebody stop supporting an artist, and the whole thing like separate the art from the artist, which before I was like, that's impossible. You cannot separate the art from the artist. They are very, very much so entwined. For me, there are some people that I stopped listening to for very serious reasons. Hello, R. Kelly, duh. And then there's other artists that I'm like, hey, I don't really want to listen to their music that much because I'm kind of annoyed with them. Julian Casablancas. Sometimes, some days, music is literally all that you have, and sometimes looking forward to musical artists' next album sometimes is the only thing that keeps you going. And knowing the power of music and how much it affects me, I'm not always going to criticize or judge other people for not instantly not listening to artists as soon as they're in public scrutiny, essentially. With Doja Cat, of course, I was such a big fan, and I want to assume positive intent. That being said, I don't stan anyone the same way that I did when I was once a child, because when you get in too deep, when you have stan accounts, hello, me and FouseyTube, you will get disappointed basically every time. So I choose to like distance myself. I choose to be like, I would say I'm a healthy fan. A fan page had posted a screenshot of an email that Doja Cat had written to a journalist, allegedly, searching for her father. A Doja Cat fan page had posted this. Like, what an insane breach of privacy. I completely understand the frustration that she could have towards her fans about something like this, such a personal, vulnerable moment, looking for your father as a child, and for that email to then be blasted on the internet. And then also, one of the more recent examples of in real life parasocialism is the musty t-shirt debacle. So a TikToker named Pablo Tamayo posts a video where he says, I'm about to give my t-shirt to Doja Cat because she's iconic.
I'm about to give my shirt to Doja Cat because she's the iconic girl. Period! Wait, what's your real name? Or is it Doja? Your name? Ami? Ami, so nice to meet you, girl. You're beautiful. I hope you have the best night.
He takes off a shirt that says, Hot Boys Kiss Boys, gives it to Doja Cat where he's hugging her, kissing her, really, really embracing her, touchy-feely, asking her for her name. Nothing with this happens until then a week later when Doja Cat decides to tweet, I threw that musty-ass shirt away, by the way. I was watching this happen in live time, like these tweets, before they were deleted, and that... Oh my god. Guys, I'm so sorry. I can't do it anymore. I felt like I was choking in that cow suit. She also tweeted, I'll smile at you, but it doesn't mean I fuck with you. Don't touch me or manhandle me when I don't even fucking know you. So this blew up, obviously. A lot of fans thought that she did this intentionally, that she was like, oh my god, let's trigger the SEO. And if people look up Doja Cat t-shirt, that then this situation will come up rather than the Sam Hyde t-shirt. I don't think that has anything to do with it at all. Like, that's like some Frozen Disney conspiracy shit, like that Disney created the movie Frozen to take away from Disney having a frozen head in their basement type of shit. But Doja Cat clarified that the man that was touching her did not know her name, was touching and kissing her face without consent. And she didn't make a scene at the moment, and she just complied and was also very kind towards him, but it made her feel deeply uncomfortable. And Twitter, for once, mostly sided with Doja Cat. The comments like she's not a doll that you can just touch, being gay doesn't excuse invading someone else's space. But then Pablo decides to make a response video in which he says, my bad if I was too nice. Like, oh my god, that was not my intentions. I'm gay. I didn't mean to make her feel uncomfortable. She's iconic.
I'm gay. I would never want to make her feel uncomfortable. She's so iconic.
But then also posting jabs, and also launched a new t-shirt that says musty ass shirt for $28 that you can purchase. Some people responded to her on Twitter saying, I thought you were feeling the damn interaction. Why is all that? Explain and give us some context. Which Doja Cat responds, I was very drunk. I don't know what to tell you. And another person writing, this is weird as fuck. The interaction was normal. Both of them looked drunk. She kissed back and then blew a kiss at the end. And then y'all eating it up is more scary and brainless. And Doja Cat writes, LMAO, wait, you're right. Never mind. Thanks for educating me on how I feel. My personal take is, I have been in the exact same situation that Doja Cat has been. There are times when I am touched, caressed, kissed on, and I feel uncomfortable saying anything because it feels rude. You're also so shocked and like caught in the moment. And sometimes it doesn't dawn on you until later that you're like, wait, what the fuck? That person actually had no right touching me like that. That actually was so fucking rude. The last thing I'm gonna do is police a woman on how she reacts when she feels like she was harassed or assaulted in public. It's parasocial as fuck to think that you could just be touching someone, kissing someone. Her reaction in the moment doesn't necessarily answer, because sometimes we do things in the moment to feel safer. Just like that VidCon interaction, I wish that I told that guy straight up, hey, I don't want to follow you on Instagram. I don't feel comfortable with that. And just kept moving on. But I didn't feel comfortable doing that in the moment. And so I entertained it in that very moment. I was like, yeah, I'll follow you. Of course. No. This is a prime example of the perfect victim mentality that people so badly want. This could have been a real conversation about boundaries. How being a celebrity and meeting a celebrity out in public like this is not warranting for you to touch them. How being queer doesn't override the need for consent. But instead it also turned into a lot of tweets about homophobia. Doja Cat hates her fans, and also capitalizing and dropping merch. Doja Cat then a few days later tweets, I fucking love that damn garlic dipping sauce from Papa John's. And what someone writes, people get ate up on Twitter and start tweeting random stuff like, dang, what movie should I go watch to act unbothered like their mentions aren't hot? Which I thought was so fucking funny, because that just seemed like a normal Doja Cat tweet, but yeah. Moral of the story is sometimes you're too anxious to speak up. Being drunk and not completely being aware of your actions can add to that. Sometimes you're scared to be rude, but that doesn't mean that in the moment you were comfortable with what was happening. And that doesn't mean that you can't speak up about it later on. I think it's also important to note that this is not Pablo's first time, in the internet. A few years ago, there was a TikTok where somebody said that Kylie Jenner didn't tip them enough on Instacart, and that also happened to be Pablo.
And it's Kylie Jenner's house. And I'm like, wait, there's no way. It's literally a $12 order for fucking pepperoni. This bitch could have paid me more.
Pablo had gone onto TikTok saying how he had done Instacart for Kylie Jenner, how he heard her baby crying, he didn't get tipped enough. Kylie responded saying that you couldn't hear her son crying inside, that he was essentially just lying for publicity. So people's response to all of this is that this has to be publicity for her new album V that is coming out, which personally, I don't think it is. I think it's a real situation that happened that she wanted to speak up about. But in her new cover story, Doja Cat does say, I do want to be self-aware enough to admit the fact that this is a pop-driven project. Remember when she said no more pop bullshit? Did she call Hot Pink and Planet her TikTok bait? Did she call them a cash grab? Yes. But V is different. She says pop is just popular, but people treat it like it's football for girls and gays. But Doja Cat says that she wants to focus on the actual craft and that she doesn't want to focus on the little monster in her brain that only craves numbers and virality. How does this mix sound? Do I even need these instruments here? Do I need to recut this verse? Project does a little less good than the last one, then I want to embrace that. It does kind of feel like Doja Cat is in a new era of her life, not just that a new album is coming, but she also recently just tweeted after the whole Pablo fiasco. Doesn't feel good when I think about how much better I'd be doing right now if I didn't use my anger as a defense mechanism against things I perceive as a threat. Which somebody responded, you'd do better if you didn't hate your fans or try to create sympathy campaign like your fellow female rappers, but hey, what do I know? Which Doja Cat responded and said, you're very right about that. I don't think anyone is creating a sympathy campaign. I think everyone's just trying to do the best they can with what the fuck they have. She also opened up and talked about therapy on Twitter. And honestly, I'm very happy for her. If this is the path that she's going down, it does seem like she's a bit more healthy. It seems like she's a lot less online these days, which is nice to see. And more than anything, I just want to see her win in that regard. I always have to tie it back to Trisha Paytas somehow, obviously, duh. They have never interacted. There's no photos between Doja Cat and Trisha Paytas. The only connection I could find is that here's Trisha Paytas with Terry Joe, which Doja Cat used to go on live with Terry Joe all the time previously. Doja Cat has been seen vibing to Trisha Paytas' song, I Love You, Jesus, before, duh. But there has not been a collab as of yet. I will say they do sometimes feel like mirror images of each other in their own way. Doja Cat of music and Trisha Paytas on YouTube, with them both being extremely chronically online, sometimes being messy on the internet, and sometimes oversharing and being too accessible to their fans. And I do think that it's admirable to see somebody who has maybe not had the best past, especially on the internet, maybe not make the best choices, and maybe be able to look back and say, I want to be different, I want to change, I want to do better. I think that's inspirational and should be celebrated, in my opinion. While I completely understand, though, that that's not for everybody, and some people cannot forgive or look past that and want those people off the internet. I don't know if it makes sense for Doja Cat to go on Instagram Live to share new songs off of her upcoming album, but then also be upset that people have fan pages for her. Or for her to say that her past projects were all a cash grab and that pop is a cash grab, while also doing a single for F1. She wants intimacy with her fans, yet not the obsession. And she wants authenticity, but doesn't appreciate the backlash. And to be honest, it does remind me a lot of Trisha Paytas in that regard. But the truth is that you can't drop #1 singles and be on the Billboard Hot 100 and just disappear into the oblivion. You can't say that your fans are dumb and then be upset when they don't necessarily read your tone. But I am the last person to ever be like, Doja Cat can rot. First of all, I'm such a huge fan of the music and the art that she creates. I think she's incredibly talented, and I think she's also incredibly human and living life for the first time, the same as all of us. Figuring that out while in the public, while being raised very, very online, it sucks, but it's also her experience and it's very human. I think she wants respect, but she also wants to remain a troll. I'm not here to defend Doja Cat's actions by any means. I do hope with these videos that I do give some nuance and also allow some perspective and room for empathy though. But when it comes to things like parasocialism or getting touched by your fans, that is something I will defend her on. I'm hoping for her success. I mean, she doesn't need my hope or praying for her success. She's gonna have that regardless. Like, she's gonna continue to play on the radios and be such a massive commercial success. And I hope nothing more than that she just grows and evolves as a person and as an artist, because I think she's a phenomenal artist. I just don't think she's always the best at being a celebrity. And I wanna encourage growth and change for our favorites, rather than being like, okay, yeah, Doja Cat can go die. That's not my style. The last thing I want for Doja Cat is a downfall for her, but I don't think that a little less Twitter would hurt, to be honest. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys liked it. If you did, please make sure that you leave it a like. Make sure you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also, make sure to have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you're gross. If you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now. I'm taking the cow suit off. I'm so fucking done with this shit. The last time I felt this horrible in a costume is when I threw up dressed as Chapel Roan. Bye.